Welcome to the USFL Authority, your best show for all things USFL, USFL news, and hot takes. Usually it's just me and my man Webb here, but we are live in Canton with our guy, Leaux, our Breakers representative. We're here in Canton. We were at the scrimmage between the Maulers and Generals, and it's been a great time. It's been super fun, and the first time that we've ever met Webb in person, which is super cool. But all right. Let's get into it. This episode is going to be kind of our season recap, as next week the games start. We're going to talk about our superlatives. So who do we think is going to get Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, MVP, Coach of the Year, North playoff teams, South playoff teams, and then finally who's going to win it all. And at the end of the season, we'll come back and we'll talk about how wrong these guys were and how right I was. It'll be really cool. So we'll do that. But first, let's talk about what we're doing here. Webb, why are we here in Canton?
We're here, obviously, to check out the Maulers and the Generals. We had a great weekend so far. I guess it's not even a weekend, right? It's Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
It feels like a weekend to me. Got to see and meet all the Maulers, talk to them, the coaches. It's been a great time. Getting to know these guys. We've been talking. We've been talking online. I talk to them more than my family sometimes. So it's been a great weekend, but also Leaux, man.
Yeah, 6'5".
He gets to see when who's going to beat the Breakers in week one, up close and personal.
True, because week one, the Maulers play the New Orleans Breakers. So some enemy turf out there. What was it like?
Yeah, that was I was trying to hide the fact that I'm the Breakers,
you're the Breakers
guy.
guy.
Yeah, I'm trying to hide the fact that I'm the Breakers guy. No, I mean, they're really cool players, cool coaches. I mean, they're just people. Like, they're just people. You talk to them and they're cool. And it's just a great experience, honestly.
You're trying to hide the fact, but it's freezing outside.
Yeah.
You got no jacket on.
Yeah. The New Orleans guy comes out, it's 45 degrees and windy, and he has on a shirt like this. And so every single player and coach knew who he was.
And then the next day he bought a jacket.
So at the scrimmage
and
today,
they're like, oh, you got a jacket. So he got called out all weekend.
Yeah, but that was good. Fun. We got to see people like
Nathan Hurley-High and Matt Mangle.
Oh, we saw all the special teams. I gave them a lot of love with the camera. We saw someone here's pick for Defensive Player of the Year, Reuben Foster. I mean, he looked like Reuben Foster, man.
Yeah, he's ready to go.
That was cool. We saw some
Trey Walker
jumping up on the goalposts. We saw this man, James Morgan. Personally, my pick for QB1 for the Maulers.
Yeah, it looks like it.
I would believe it. There's another one of him with his tongue out. That's probably my favorite photo I took of the first day. And then we got Troy Williams.
Yeah.
He was an incredibly nice guy. And then here we go. Our dude Webb living his dream. I don't think he stopped smiling for about 5 minutes after this photo. Boogie and the defensive line all yelled at Webb to come over so that he could get a photo with all of them. So it's been a blast. It's been everything we wanted it to be out here. Yeah. And it's just been fun. And we got KB, our brand ambassador. She's over here, always behind the scenes of USFL Authority. So she's here in person as well. So we got everybody here, plus Logan, which I think is just a fun little thing.
Awesome.
But let's get into it. Our superlatives.
No songs this week.
No songs this week. No transitions. We're live. We're just rolling. Just business. I'm not going to do that with my tablet. But, okay. So let's start with Webb. Who's your MVP?
We'll go MVP. J.M.R. Smith.
What?
I think the Birmingham Stallions are going to be one of the top teams in the league. And I believe that he's going to figure out ways. He's not going to put up the greatest numbers. I told you a couple weeks ago, he's my fantasy quarterback because I think he's going to – that offense is going to get better this year. With Bo coming back the second year, I know the Breaker guys over there, he wants to rip my head off right now, but I really think that offense is going to get better this year. With Deion Kane, I'm just a big believer in it. So I think they're going to win the South, and we'll get to that later. And I think he makes a strong case for being the MVP.
Tell me your MVP is not Jamar.
No, my MVP is Case Cookus.
Mine as well.
Case Cookus, he's another year back. I mean, let's be honest. He was the best quarterback last year that we saw in the league.
He was the best quarterback I've ever seen in spring football.
Yeah, I mean, and beyond that, he's back again with his coach, with most of his receivers.
Mm-hmm.
And he's healthy. He's back with a vengeance. I mean, he probably would have gotten an NFL chance had he not, broken his leg. So he's hungry. He wants to prove again why he's that guy. So I mean, it's hard to not not pick him as MVP.
No, I absolutely agree. So Case Cookus, he had 1,335 yards, 12 touchdowns, 217 yards on the ground.
That's fine.
People don't even consider him a mobile quarterback. And he had 217 on the ground and a rushing touchdown.
He had one play that was 80
It was
yards.
75, but
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, exactly. So that was
Which
a
is
quarter.
I
which
think-
is crazy enough.
That is crazy,
Yes.
but that makes that 217.
Yeah,
look
that's true.
a lot
And it was
better.
against the Panthers, which I'll give you is
and that was
a
the
moot
game
point.
yeah.
Oh, they're a
Okay.
decent defense.
not
They
that
gave
game.
up 50.
Not that game.
48.
Yeah, no.
But I think he's poised. He's the best quarterback I've ever seen in a spring league. He had over 1,300 yards coming in after the fourth game.
Third.
I mean, that's ridiculous. I think he's coming back. He's got all his receivers plus Corey Coleman, who a lot of people have as an MVP candidate on their lists, which we were not bold enough to do.
No.
But I mean, he's got great receivers in Jordan Sewell, in Chris Rowland, now freaking Corey Coleman, a former first round pick. So that's really
All right, so
What
who's
I
your number 2 since he's the number 1 guy?
Number 2?
Automatically, Yeah. Who's your number
I
2
picked-
MVP?
I picked
Kenji Bahar.
I,
I'm just kidding.
I picked
Probably.
my number 2 as basically my offensive player of the year. I don't know if you guys kind of
Oh,
did
then
that.
let's go to
Okay.
offensive player of the year.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, that's kind of
Okay.
what.
Who's your offensive player of the year?
McLeod, Bethel Thompson.
Bethel Thompson. All right.
Which, all right.
Why?
Now listen.
Here we go.
All right, veteran quarterback. Right.
Okay.
He's been one of the best quarterbacks in the Canadian Football League for a couple of years. Led the league in
For
passing
like
last
a
year.
decade.
He's in a pass first offense. It'll be pass heavy as well. He's with a coach that he's familiar with. He's been with before. And they brought back Johnny Dixon, Jay Adams, but they also went and got guys like Eli Stove to come in. They brought in Sage Surratt to be a tight end,
That was a good one.
he didn't really get used in Birmingham, but he's looked really strong in camp. And I mean, all the things you would need to be a quarterback to put up stats, which most of the time, if you're trying to get an MVP or offensive player of the year as a quarterback, you need the stats. And if you're in a pass first offense with a coach you're familiar with and
And
really
those
good receivers, you're going to put up stats. So
my big problem with MBT, probably your big problem with him too, is that he's a statue in the pocket. He's not running. He's not moving. He's not mobile. And in spring leagues, the hardest thing to put together, especially with a camp that is this short, is an offensive line. So I think the first couple of weeks, maybe he does come on late. Maybe he makes a run for MVP. But I think the first couple of weeks, he's on the ground. I think he's on the ground a lot.
that's fair. The one thing I will say is New Orleans completely revamped their offensive line and brought in a lot of.
So that's also not good though.
It
Also
could
bad.
be. It could be
It's also
bad,
bad.
but it could be a lot better though. That's the thing. We don't know. But I will say it is more than likely that the offensive line might struggle early on because that does happen. But
That
if they catch
always
later
happens.
in the season and he stays healthy with those receivers, he's going to put up stats.
Okay.
Kyle Sloter put up 1,700 yards last year in a balanced offense that was not pass first.
And more interceptions than touchdowns. Okay, so who's your offensive player?
So
of the year?
I think the way we're kind of going here, like we're kind of telling who our playoff teams are, right?
Pretty much.
Sure.
With the offensive players of the year. Like I can almost tell you Philly and New Orleans are in his playoffs, right?
Probably.
And I don't know your offensive play. I'm taking Vito Victor because I think the Generals are going to win the North and he's just going to dominate. Watching him today on the scrimmage, it was awesome. It was awesome. He was so shifty. I know everyone talks about his thick thighs, but man, those things were moving left and right so
The
easily.
whole thing is thick.
Yeah.
In person, he's so much thicker than you
He
expect.
wears number 69.
All of them. And today he wore the number 69. I should have pulled that in to show you guys. But he was wearing the number 69 today. He was moving. He looked really good. And he's a thick boy. He's also not tall. I wouldn't tackle him. I'll tell you that right now.
And I
he's
think-
also my offensive player of the year.
And I think Prukup's going to be the guy one day. So maybe not week 1. And I think he's perfect for Vito Victor for the RPOs.
For the RPOs
and he could throw the ball, which we saw today.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. That first Generals play where they handed him the ball, he made one cut and was up the middle, gone, and I was like, did he just do that?
he looked good.
That was
Dakota
wasn't expecting
Prukup looked good. Kyle Laletta, he threw some pretty nice passes.
he did.
So their offense looked better than I expected, especially quarterback wise, where I thought they would have one of the weakest rooms. Although DeAndre Johnson did not play, so that was interesting. Now, defensive player of the year, I'm gonna mix it up. I'm gonna go first. Robert Nikomdici, out of Ole Miss, former first round draft pick, was 29th overall. I think he's coming back with a vengeance. I think he put it together. I think his work ethic and everything was in question. And eventually, he had a suspension in the NFL, then kind of just was only on practice squads as a former first-round pick. I think he comes back. I think he lights it up. And I think he's the Chris Odom of the season. Sadly, not on the Gamblers.
So you're saying the Panthers are going to go like 3-7, 4-6?
Panthers might go 3-7, 4-6.
With the
I think
defensive
their
end
offense
that
is suspect.
dominates?
I think their offense is suspect. But yes.
We'll get to that.
Who's your defensive player of the year?
So it's defensive player of the year was the one that kind of made me sit there for a second because Odom's gone.
Yes.
And
Donald Payne's
also gone. And I was like, man, and I'm looking and, I saw Adam Rodriguez had 9 sacks last year. And
as a linebacker.
And, they love sacks. When it comes to getting a defensive player of the year award, like in football in general, like if you get a lot of sacks, you'll get that award. So, I mean,
that's fair.
I thought it was a decent guy, either interceptions or sacks. If you get those, like you have a really good chance of getting that award, and he gets sacks. So, I mean, he had 12 and a half sacks, was pretty crazy, but 9 is still up there too. I mean, that was not as close, but it's still pretty crazy for a first-round league.
And I feel like when we're talking about playoff teams, Philly might be in for Logan. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Who's your defensive player of the year?
You guys, is this really a question for me?
It's definitely not a Mauler.
Yeah. It's Reuben Foster, man.
It's Reuben Foster.
It's got to be Reuben Foster.
Why?
Legend of Alabama.
Okay.
Fits perfectly with Horn defense.
Okay. Give me 4 more reasons.
I don't have the stats from the USFL.
4 more reasons.
I didn't have the USFL stats like Leaux has with so many sacks because he hasn't played in the USFL.
That's one stat he knew.
But, or Odom or anything like that. Like there are no stats for Reuben Foster since 2021. So I really feel that he's going to continue to get better, and he's a big name. And I think that helps you in voting.
That is true.
And I think in the middle of Horton's defense, I think he'll be fine. And we saw it close up, and I think he really is trying to learn the defense, and I think he'll produce. So I'm not worried about it. And I put the Maulers in the playoffs, so you got to kind of get a award.
So a big question going into the offseason, especially once Reuben Foster was signed, was will he be the same Reuben Foster we saw at Alabama? Do you think that what you saw out there, that he is still that guy?
He can be. I don't think he's –
I think
he's not there yet. I think he's learning that defense. All the coaches say he looks great.
Yeah.
All of the coaches, not one person. And I just think he's going to develop into that.
I think it's
that guy.
I think it's kind of the same thing with Kimdichie. You're not just a first-round draft pick in the NFL for no reason.
Yes.
Now, that doesn't guarantee that Kimdichie or Foster are just going to walk in and dominate the league.
No.
But it could easily happen because they're first-round NFL talents.
Yes.
So, I mean, either one of them winning Defensive Player of the Year it's likely. Or maybe not likely, but it's definitely possible.
Actually, with this conversation, Foster's going to have a tougher time because he's not going to create a ton of sacks. He's kind of he's middle linebacker.
Yeah, if you're middle linebacker.
Yeah,
it's tough. Like, he's got to create turnovers.
Yes, and you look at it last year, DP had 2 pick sixes. He led the league in tackles. He had, I think, a sack or 2. Yeah, he still didn't get it. So it is hard for Reuben Foster.
That's my only knock on Foster.
That would be the only knock.
That's why.
And Adam Rodriguez, who did 9 sacks and a bunch of tackles last year, still wasn't even in the mix for it. He
wasn't all USFL.
Yeah, he wasn't even all USFL. I think mine is the most likely. Just saying, who's your newcomer of the year to the USFL?
Me.
Here we go.
Who would it be?
Surprise.
Well, I mean, if I picked Offensive Player of the Year to be MBT, then obviously newcomer would probably be MBT as well.
Fair.
Because, I mean, if you win an award as a new player, you're the only new player on my list to win an award. You're probably the best newcomer, more than likely, in that scenario.
It makes sense because, Nick Mdici is also my newcomer of the year, and he was my defensive player of the year.
Exactly. And yours would probably be Foster.
No, it's not.
But
it's Alex Collins.
It's Alex Collins.
I love Alex Collins.
I also like Alex Collins. To have a guy that I used to start for like an entire season of NFL fantasy football in the league is 1, kind of weird, but 2, really cool. So okay. I'll go with that. I'm not even going to fight you on it.
So that's
a good one.
That's a good one. Yeah.
There's a lot of good newcomers in this league. Like
people.
Anybody could take that award of the guys that we named with Foster, Kimdichie.
Heck, it could even be one of the smaller school guys that nobody's talking about.
Exactly.
Like RJ Young, who's not talking about them, but they could come in and light it up. And then
Definitely.
one of them could be it.
Exactly.
All right, so playoffs.
You don't want to do coach first?
Yep, you're right. Coach of the year. Who's your coach of the year?
Todd Haley.
Todd Haley.
I think the Memphis showboats are going to show out.
Really?
Showtime. I think the captain's going to love it. I really believe in them. And I think the Breakers took the step back, and I don't know if the Gamblers are there yet. So I think they're going to be rewarded, kind of like the Stars, and I'll get into the Stars later, but kind of like the Stars where they went 6-4 last year, but they beat up on some teams that really weren't that good.
They got
more than
hot when it
half their-
counted. How many
They
times
won
did we
one
talk
game.
about this?
Whatever.
Oh my gosh.
Whatever.
Who's your coach of the year?
I got Coach Flip.
Weird.
Surprise.
Yeah, I know.
Weird.
And it's so because like I try not to be the homer, but like
Do you?
What?
Nah, but listen.
When?
Whoa,
Listen,
I think you're
listen.
the least homer guy.
Listen. I know. I believe in this team. I believe in the things that I've heard. I think a lot of it makes sense. Just it's same thing with like what I said with MBT. It just so many factors make sense. The system, the coach he's familiar with, pass first, the receivers. A lot of it makes sense, right? And I think Coach Flip. I think our defense is really good, and our offense will be better this year. And we could be the number 1 seed in the South. And if we were to be the number 1 seed in the South, there's a high chance that Coach Flip could be Coach of the Year. That would make sense.
They got to get to the playoffs first. But okay. Mine Skip Holtz. Easy. Because,
Wow, I didn't expect that.
yeah.
I did not expect
And it's
that.
not just because I talked to him 2 weeks ago and he was really nice to me. That's not the only reason. But I think he's coming in. He has, the most returners of any team, which having that kind of consistency is huge. He has a quarterback who's now been playing in this system for almost 8 years, which is ridiculous. And I just think that they're the most poised. I think they might, I'm not going to say repeat, but I think they could be better than I gave them credit for in season 1, because I think they got better in this offseason, but I still think last season that the home field advantage helped them. But I digress. North playoff teams.
Me?
Go for it.
The Canton Hub. It's simple.
The Canton Hub.
The Canton Hub.
Just the Canton Hub.
Both teams are going to make it to the playoffs.
The
And
teams
I
we
feel
saw
bad for
today.
Detroit. I really feel like Pittsburgh's going to fight to get in there. I think New Jersey's going to win the division. I think they're going to win it comfortably. And then the other 3 teams are trying to fight for that last spot.
Speak up. No, you don't say it again, but you got to just talk louder. But I have the Stars and the Panthers. I actually have the Michigan Hub.
Wow.
I have neither from this hub.
Disrespect. He saw one
It is
scrimmage. He's so disrespectful.
Disrespectful. I did see one scrimmage, and yeah, Michigan. I think that hub could do it. I think it could be those 2 teams. The Stars, I think offensively, they could be the best, like by far. And then I don't know. The more I see on the Panthers, that might change for me. I might put the Generals, but I put the Panthers originally, and I'm holding to what I said. What about you?
I had Philly and New Jersey. Before I get into that though, like we all had different picks,
We did.
which tells you how talented this league is. And like these 8 teams are not like someone has to have a bad record, but that doesn't necessarily make them a bad team, because like I don't think holistically
The
Houston
Gamblers
was a
last
bad
year.
team last year.
No.
I think Michigan was bad offensively, but even then they had a good defense for the most part. Like, and
They have
even the
Shea
Maulers,
effect, you know,
the Maulers had a good defense last year. Like, I don't think any of these 8 teams are bad. So
No.
there's just happens to be 4 teams that aren't going to make it. But I think Philly, if you have the MVP, you're probably a playoff team. And then New Jersey, I mean, they were really good last year, and I think they'll be good again. So,
I agree with his more than mine. Probably the Panthers. We'll see. I think the Panthers all depends on quarterback play, and I think right now they're stuck between who they like and who's better. And who, I'm kind of stuck there too, because I like Josh Love, but I think Carson Strong might be the guy. So we'll see how they handle that situation, and that could depend on the season. But for the South, I'm going Homer, and I'm saying it's going to be the Stallions and the Gamblers.
Wow.
What's up? Stallions,
Who
Gamblers.
wins the division?
Stallions.
Huh?
I'm not that much of a homer. I think we could get in. I don't think we'll win the division. What about you?
Or I'll go first because you are
Yeah.
the South guy. Birmingham and Memphis.
Ouch.
I think the Stallions are the best team right now.
I saw your
do.
paper. That's why I didn't put the. No, I'm just kidding. But dang, come on, man.
I think And I think Memphis is going to show up. And I think Memphis is going to be really good. I love the Alex Collins. I love the pickups on defense, Big Cat Bryant. I just really think they're going to be.
They could be good.
And I think the Gamblers, and this is no disrespect to you guys,
oh gosh,
the Gamblers and the Breakers take a step back, and they were 4-6 last year. So all they got to do is get 2 more wins, and they're in the playoffs. If they take another one from you, they steal one from another team, they're 6-4 automatically. So
okay. Ow. And who's yours?
I'd like to mention that we did beat Tampa Bay.
I know twice.
Really bad.
Really bad.
That's fine.
Both times.
With Fedora and Sloter. So
Yeah.
it's a little
Yeah.
different.
And I think our QB coach combo got better, but that's
Hmm.
no. I did. Could be better. Could be better on paper.
Hmm.
I picked New Orleans and Birmingham. I really like our offense. I do. I like the system. I like the talent that's there at running back. It's still really, even though we lost Jordan Ellis, the running back room is still really good. And I mean, Anthony Jones did a lot of really good stuff late in the season for us.
He was a hammer.
Yeah.
I mean, he was really good. I think our receiving core is still really good, and I think it even got better. We had a couple guys that are no longer on the team that were holding that core back a little bit. But I also think Birmingham's still a good team. I mean, they did win the championship. They didn't lose too much, and they did bring in some good players. So I mean, I think
Changed a lot on that paper.
No, well, it's the championship picks, and I keep going back and forth. And you guys are talking, and I'm reacting to it, and I keep going back and forth with a couple teams.
Oh
But
my gosh. All right.
it's
so
because
Birmingham.
Lowe said
Understand.
perfectly that every team can beat
Yeah.
every team in this league.
kinda like
Talented.
baseball.
So like you guys are talking, I'm like, oh yeah.
It's kind of like baseball.
And-
Any team could beat any team.
even though as of right now, I'll be honest, I don't fully believe in Houston, but that doesn't mean they can't go. They can't.
Nobody
mess around.
does.
But that doesn't
It's
mean they
okay.
can't mess around and go 7-3 and Kenji Bahar hits for them and their
Yeah.
defense fully reloads. You know what I mean? Because they
Who
lost
knows?
a lot,
We
but
lost
that
all
doesn't
of
mean
them.
they can't reload. And that's why I'm banking on New Orleans reloading defensively and building on what we had come back. Right. So that
Yes.
doesn't mean it can't happen. It also doesn't mean Carson Strong can't come in for Michigan and lead them to an 8-2 season. Like anything
Yeah,
can happen in
I
this
mean-
league. There's 8 teams and they're all super talented and they're all they're splitting hairs within each other, I think.
Yeah, and I'll say I like all the positions. Quarterback is going to dominate who wins. That's just how it is. Case Cookus came in, he got hot. Stars went to the championship. You know, it really does. A lot of it depends on quarterback play. So yeah,
Did he get hot though?
yes, he got hot.
He got hot in the Generals and the Stallions, but like when they were playing the Panthers were basically done for the season. When they were playing the Maulers at the end there, they were done, right? Like they played in the
Did you
total
not
bowl.
watch the championship?
I watched
That's
it.
okay.
He was good, but like I don't think we peg on
He
them
was
as the
great.
champions. I just don't. I don't.
Well,
I already know where you're going.
I'm not saying they're champions.
Yeah.
Like
No,
I don't
you
see
know
them
what?
as a lock.
No, you
I
know
don't
what?
see them as a lock. That's my
Okay.
thing.
I
Yeah,
think if you have a quarterback
And an
it's a-
offensive line that they
But
went
here's
through
the
3
thing.
quarterbacks that were hurt, and they didn't really improve it a lot. So what to say
Okay.
Cookus makes it 10 games? Do you believe in Kevin Thompson? You got to believe in the whole roster at this point in time.
What about KJ Costello?
He's
What about
not-
Vadley?
He's inactive. Vadley. You want to go Vadley?
I don't want to
You
go.
want to go Vadley? 45%
at all.
pass completion. I don't care.
Okay, then who do you pick for the champion? Because I picked the Philadelphia Stars are going to win it.
Of
all
course
this
you
year.
did. Of course you
Of
did.
course I did. Yeah, and I did that before you made me mad.
I took Birmingham. Birmingham
You
over.
took Birmingham.
I took Birmingham over New Jersey because I believe that Magoo and Jamar fit that system pretty good, and all those guys are coming back. They're
Magoo was
coming
playing-
back.
Magoo was playing wide receiver.
Like
half the
until
season.
they're proven wrong, they're coming back and they're together. And like I think they got better with Deion Kane, and I believe they picked up some guys on the offensive line to get better. Do they have some holes? Sure, every team has holes,
Yes.
but I think Birmingham, until they're beat, are the
So
picks.
we have a rehashing of the championship last year, and I wonder who I'm not much of a homer picked.
I want to say I want to say with the Case Cookus thing, I think Case Cookus is on a level where if he's on your team, you have a chance to make the playoff.
Yeah.
Like
I
there's
agree.
a select few guys in the NFL when you're like, as long as we got this guy on our roster, we can at least make it.
Yes.
Maybe as a wild card, but we can at least make it. I think Cookus is good enough. I think he elevates there's a difference between throwing to like open receivers and making guys open, and I saw it in that championship game. There was plays where I'm like, oh, there's nothing there, and then Cook is just
He ran
makes
around for
something
20
there.
seconds.
He
and then
makes
threw a
something there.
touchdown.
I think he's talented.
But there's deeper rosters, right?
There are deeper rosters.
So guys aren't wearing off in the fourth quarter anymore. Like there's going to be guys that can come in and substitute.
But even then,
No, but I'm serious. He dominated in the fourth quarter. I'll give you that. Like he took over in the
I
New
think in
Jersey
the
game, he was really good. In I believe the Panthers game, they
He looked
exploded.
great in the championship, and he didn't even play in the fourth quarter.
I was to say,
I don't think. I don't.
It would have been impressive.
I don't think
on
we
broken
peg him
leg
as a
and ankle.
champion. I don't
You're not
think.
pegging him. Okay,
I don't
think they
we
could
peg
win
him.
it.
Like there's
but-
not a lock.
but we still haven't heard what I'm not a homer picked for the championship.
Oh,
Who?
I did.
he's our guest.
Who?
I'll be nice.
I did. I picked New Orleans. I
You
think
picked New Orleans.
I did. I think
Wild.
this is what I've said on my show for.
New Orleans over Philly.
It's. I think as a whole, I do think that Cook is.
If you weren't a New Orleans fan, you wouldn't pick Philadelphia.
Who do you think is going to have a better defense? New
Well,
Orleans.
New Orleans.
New Orleans. And how close are? I'm not saying that our offense.
Another reason why not to pick
How
Philly.
close?
I'm
are
not
they?
saying that our
Wow.
offense is going to be better, but it's not like
I don't
Philly's
think they're
offense
close.
is here and ours is going to be down here. So
I think
if
it could
deep-
be.
Yeah.
I think it very easily could be.
I think it could blow up.
I think it could be. I don't know. I guess we'll
think it
find out.
very
I
easily
don't know.
could be.
I think there's things that factor into it. Like for one, how many Coach, and I've said this for a long time. Coach DiFilippo is 44 years old, and he was one of the hottest names a couple years ago. This guy's not here on his last leg. He's not in this league. He's not in this league to retire. He's in this league to get back to the NFL.
to move up. Yeah.
To move up. He's hungry.
It's
And-
also his first time
Being a head coach. And his offensive coordinator has 16 years of head coaching experience, and a coach on the defensive staff has 6 years of head coaching experience.
Okay.
And also the defensive coordinator has 10 plus years of assistant head coaching experience.
Okay.
So there's guys on the staff. It was something I was really questioning is would he do that?
Yes.
And he brought in guys that have head coaching or at least assistant head coaching experience.
Okay.
So you got New Orleans over Philly.
Yes, I
you
do.
would say Philly
He's got Nola.
Who's your-
I
who's
said
your-
Philly.
over
Oh,
Birmingham.
Oh,
or
we're
Houston?
saying
I think
who's
this
winning?
team's. I also think
we're
our
saying
team's
who's playing
really hungry.
Well, why not? Who's the Southern?
over the Gamblers.
You want to talk about Homer? Yeah, like he's got
Why
an
not?
argument.
I didn't have one prepared, so I'm saying the Gamblers.
That's where I
Sure.
went back and forth.
Sure, I think
Listen.
the Gamblers lose in the championship to the Stars.
I think next Saturday's Birmingham game is the championship preview.
Okay, I
Birmingham,
mean,
New Jersey.
people said that last year, and then New
I
Jersey.
understand
didn't
that
make it.
because Cook has got hot, right, for one game. And I just feel that New Jersey, especially after seeing them, I think they're ready. They're well. Mike Riley's good.
All right.
Mike Riley's really good.
All right. Well, those are all of our superlatives.
Yeah.
So that's good. We couldn't really do much of the other stuff right now because, well, we're in Canton. We could have taken the week off, but we decided we wanted to talk to y'all. We wanted to get Leaux on here with us. He's super tall. I don't know if you guys know. I'm sitting on my leg right now. But yeah, this has been a blast. I love doing it.
Why did we put you in the middle?
Why did we put me in the
You
middle?
should put low. and then
Because
it was
I'm ace. I don't know.
He wants to be.
Because it's my computer.
Yeah, it's just.
It's my computer.
Yeah, it's right.
My camera, my
Whatever.
microphone.
Whatever. KB, you got any comments from the far? No comments.
Nope, nothing
No
from
comments.
KB. All right. So then, until next time, this has been the USFL Authority
In real life.
in real life. See y'all next time.